Hello everyone and welcome to a new video on the channel. I'm Adam and I am going to be ranking all the episodes in Series 7 Lynxy series. Because I promised I'll do that in the Q&A, and because I said I promised to do that in that Q&A, I'll probably have to do it every other series if it's a question in the Q&A after the series is out, after my review for it. So this might be a traditional thing to come out after the Q&A, so I won't mind doing that. I won't mind doing that at all. So yeah, as I said, I'll be ranking all the episodes from my least favourite. And unfortunately, this is my second attempt at doing it because the phone decided to ring. And I was so close to the end. I got to the top 4. It's really infuriating. But this is my second attempt now. Hopefully it'll go better now and hopefully the phone will stay quiet. But yeah, let's get into this. So please remember, this is my opinion. And your opinion most likely will be different. So, bear with me, please. You asked for this. I'm just giving it to you. So, in 10th place, we have Series 7, Episode 7, Preparation of a Pirate. Now, unfortunately, this one is last place. It's an alright episode. Unfortunately, it just didn't really hook me in as much as how much the other episodes hooked me in as well. So for that reason, it's not really that high. I do like the fact it's just hyping up the Talis arc and beginning it. It's just a bit too late into the series, but like I said in the Q&A and the review, there was nothing Lucas could have done about that. And it's the way that he done it is the best possible way it could have been done. But unfortunately, Talis had to suffer for that. Hopefully, should be more prominent in the next series. And that being said, let's go to the next video. And that is episode 8, which is 9th place. And that's Talis Strikes. Now, this is the one where Talis attacks Atrocity and takes Viper hostage after Viper saved Impus from hunting down Talis. It was alright. It was an alright episode. Unfortunately, compared to the others, it's just not as good. I liked the episode. I enjoyed it. And finally, Talis gets to do something. But as I said, just too late. But at least Talis finally did something. It just doesn't compare to the others, in my opinion. Speaking of which, going on to the next episode, which also doesn't compare to the rest of the series, in my opinion. And that's episode 9, Friction on the Dark Galleon. Now, I have no problem with this later series of episodes because even though I said in my review, it started off great, got a bit iffy in the middle, but got great at the end. It gets better. It did get better. The iffy part was episode 7. But Friction on the Dark Galleon was, in my opinion, a quite good episode. And actually had Apex threatening Comediac just to find out where his father is. Which is actually the thumbnail, which is good. And then, of course, someone's knocking on the door. It wasn't said in that one. That wasn't said in that episode. But the thumbnail actually has someone knocking on the door. So, that's what I had to say. It's just building up to the final episode where the Death Cannon's about to destroy Atro City or Atrocity. And it was just, even though it's a small episode, it builds up to the final episode, which is a whopping 20 minutes long, which is great. I appreciate that a lot. So even though it's not meant to be a good episode, it does what it's meant to do, hence why it's higher than Talis Strikes. Moving on to 7th place, we have episode 6, Man Up. This episode is entirely dedicated to my character Apex. Not my character as a whole, but the character I voice, hence why I'm saying it's my character, even though I didn't create this character. It's just my character because I voice it. I'm not saying I have complete ownership of it though, and that actually bugs me now. I just noticed that my posters aren't lined up at the top. Oh, that's actually really annoying now. I'm not going to fix it because I honestly can't be bothered. Oh, God. Okay, anyway, going back to the topic. Man Up. It felt good. The flashback felt a bit rushed, but that's the idea. This episode's actually longer than the finale, actually, which is... yeah, brilliant. Yeah, so the flashback felt a bit rushed in that, but that's the idea. I think it could have been handled a bit better. But the main problem I have with this episode is actually on my part, which is the voice acting for the characters, mainly Max Mitchell. I'm not happy at all with Max Mitchell's voice. And if I was to get a second chance at voicing Max Mitchell, I'll probably aim to try and get a deeper voice without sounding too much like Apex. So, unfortunately, that is entirely my bad, but there's nothing I can do about that anymore. If Max Mitchell does come back, I'd like to hopefully get a better voice for him. If not, then hope you like a young sounding old Max Mitchell. Anyway, moving on. 5th place. In the top half now, we have episode 3, Enter the Imposter. Now, in my first recording, I was having a tough choice deciding which one to come 5th place. But I chose Enter the Imposter as it is a great episode, and I love a particular line where all the voice actors had to say the same line, and when Comediac kept changing his appearance to Dark Ace, Monkey King, Sinister, Talis, and of course Comediac. No, was it Comediac? No, probably. Oh, which character was it they transformed into Lucas voiced? I don't know, but he also changed into Apex as well at the end, which is kind of fitting because the one part of that line I was happy that I did was the "even you" part, which I think added a bit more tension to that. So finally, my lines did something with the assistance of other people, but that's great. As long as one of my lines is good, and I have shared that with others, which is good. Something else to add. The general that was introduced to that episode, I actually like a lot, and unfortunately, compared to the others, it's just not as memorable as the others are. Moving on to 5th place now. No, hold on. That's 6th place. Episode 3 was. Okay, so moving on to 5th place. This one is more memorable than the others due to a character that's introduced in it. Unfortunately, I just prefer the other episodes more. So at 5th place is episode 4, Day of the Dragon. So that character I'm talking about that was introduced is Drago, of course. And yeah, Drago's a great character. Had a kick-ass fight with Monkey King, and has probably one of the funniest scenes I've ever done in a review, where it's just me doing this. I just absolutely love that for some reason, and I find it kind of funny watching it back. I watch my own videos and laugh at my own jokes, because at least I know someone laughs at them. Oh, this is sad. But other than that, episode 4 is a great episode towards the end. It had the backstory of the whole animal kingdom when Monkey King ruled the world and all that. And unfortunately, that's just the later half, which is good. The first half just felt like filler for most of it. And it's just building up to this ultimate reveal of General Drago, which, in my opinion, went a bit too slow and could have lost audience interest very quickly. That's the negative thing I have about episode 4, but other than that, it's a great episode. Moving on to 4th place, and no, this is a tough choice now, because we have episode 1, 2, 5 and 10 left. And I think I'm going to need to give 4th place to episode 2. So 4th place is episode 2, Cottontail's Raceway. Now, if I was to do a ranking of my top 10 favourite episodes overall, I think Cottontail's Raceway may be an honourable mention, if not in the top 10. So that kind of tells you where the other episodes will be as well. So for Cottontail's Raceway, it is the voice actor for Sinister Strange, Carson, or I can't remember his YouTube channel. I'm sorry. Yeah, that is actually his favourite episode that he did. I'm not sure if it still is, but as far as I'm aware, it is his favourite episode, which I don't blame him. It's a great episode and rather amusing, especially on Sinister Strange's part. When I was talking about the review for this episode, I said that I liked this episode due to the amount of laughter I got from Sinister and his antics of his henchmen. So that's the problem of having too many henchmen. Not to mention one actually says nothing, which is XR. But ignoring that, I'd say it's actually rather good. I enjoyed this episode because the whole race part was kind of amusing. Talis and Apex just watched from a distance, and another great line I did, which I liked, was and don't fret, I'll make sure we are the ones leaving with the trophy. Yes! The trophy was, of course, Cottontail himself. The general, I don't like as much as Ramos, or Drago for that matter, but he's still a good general in my opinion, as I kind of have a fondness for rabbits, as I had a bunch of them when growing up. Unfortunately, they all passed away, but that's where my love for rabbits came from. Not to mention a Pokemon which I like is a rabbit, Cinderace. Moving on, other than that, episode 2's a good episode and rather enjoyable to watch, and an episode that I'll go back to every now and then, and a great follow-up to episode 1. Third place is actually episode 5, The End of Light Year. Now, you may have noticed I didn't have to actually think about which episode I'll put in third place, but I put End of Light Year in third place for the simple reason the first episode was a great introduction to the series, and Lucas knows this very well. I love that episode. Episode 10 is also a great episode. Lucas doesn't know as much that I love this episode, but now that he does, because it isn't in the top 2 now. But moving on, episode 5, End of Light Year, unfortunately does have to take the bronze medal, because even though it was a great wrap up to the Monkey King, Sinister and Buzz Lightyear arc, and it kind of starts the continues the Apex arc, continues the Impus and Viper arc, they weren't really in that episode very much actually, and it starts the Talis arc. I'm glad to know that it wraps up arcs from previous seasons and continues others as well, which is good. Unfortunately, the thing that draws it back is that it's just my personal opinion that I like episode 1 and episode 10 more than episode 5. So, unfortunately for that reason, episode 5 is third place. It's a great episode, and if I did a top 10 for the Lynx series episodes, it'll be definitely in the top 10, close to the middle, probably top 5. I don't know. Depends what other episodes come out. So moving on to second place. Now this is a tough choice. It's either episode 1, Welcome to Atro City, or episode 10, Unhappy Reunion. Now, I like both of these episodes, and they have a little drawback there. And episode 1's drawback is, of course, the fact it's supposed to be an opening episode. Hook the viewers in, which is what it did. Unfortunately, it's not supposed to be too good, and that's what it is. The drawback for me in episode 1 is probably General Boris. Episode 10, the drawback in that episode is just my lines. I hate my lines in that episode. Which one do I see as more of a problem? I would probably need to say second place is episode 10. I love the finale to series 7, but the thing that draws it back is entirely my fault, and that's the lines. And that's something I'm going to keep bringing up every time I talk about this episode. I hate the lines I've done in this episode. Some of them are enjoyable. I like some of the stuff that Apex does. It's like slam Impus into the Dark Galleon multiple times. Referencing to the Avengers where Hulk smashed Loki into the ground. And also Storm having a few lines. Go to save the day, instantly stopped by Apex. Then Apex kind of has a redemption arc of Impus realising he was the one that healed Viper's wounds after he injured Viper. It was a great wrap-up, not to mention Lynxy and Talis finally meet each other for the first time. Well, Talis meets Lynxy for the first time, where she's able to talk. And the fact that Talis doesn't believe and won't accept that Lynxy is her mother is something which I find kind of interesting, and would love to see more. I'd love to see improved more in the future seasons. Anything else I'd like to add on? Not really. Episode 10's a great ending to this series and took away two of Talos' lives in one episode. One by the hands of Impus and Vipera, and the other by the hands of Apex and Comediac. Oops! But at least she was blasting off again. I did get confirmation that was an official death to Talos, so now she has 7 lives left. So that of course means that my favourite episode of Lynx series is of Series 7 is episode 1, Welcome to Atro City. And I said because I just realised I wasn't entirely happy with the lines in this episode. I'm more happy with the lines in that episode more than episode 10, but I'm not very happy about those lines there for me. But ignoring that, episode 1 is by far the best episode in that series for me. Wasn't really much of a competition. When it got to the top 4, that's when I was actually debating. But when I was like, compare how many times I would rewatch this over and over again, I would rewatch episode 1 every time I go back to series 7 because it's one of my favourite episodes. The one minor problem I have with it is actually how Monkey King pronounced Atro City in that episode, but it was fixed in episode 2. And the reason why he said Atro City instead of Atrocity like all the villains are meant to do, it's for the simple reason the voice actor didn't actually know. So when Lucas explained that to her in episode 2, it was fixed right there, and I have no problem with it now. But that is just a minor inconvenience, but that's fine. It's absolutely fine the way it is. It's still my favourite episode. General Boris is actually my least favourite general in this series. But ignoring that, I'm actually relatively happy with how it went out. Not to mention the introduction to Talos is great, and also apparently the song that introduced Talos is actually introducing the arc as a whole, which is also better. And of course, the debut of Atro City with probably one of my favourite classics, not classic, but retro songs. We built the city in rock and roll, brilliant. Anything else to say about this episode? I just love it as a whole. Sinister didn't really get to say much, but he got to he was part of probably one of the most funny things that Impus has ever said, and that was the way of him saying hello to someone, going like Yahoo! And of course Sinister got to meet his friend in that episode as well, which is good as well. And so many stuff about this episode I like about it. And for that reason, episode 1 remains to be my favourite episode of Series 7, and probably will be my favourite until I decide to change my opinion. But for that, that's all for this time. If you like what you saw, leave a like, leave a comment, don't forget to subscribe, press that little notification bell down in the corner below. Next video I do, I don't know what I'll be doing, but it probably might be Pokemon related, might be Beast Quest related, I'm not sure. Until then, peace out.